Well, this is the thing actually, because I remember when the banner came out, there were a couple of people who were like, I think it came back to the esports org items not being in the game, and they were like, "Oh, you have time to put a shitty watercolor banner in, but you don't have time to do this thing we want." But the truth is, it took years. I think they first messaged me about 2 years ago, and
Wow.
then it came to nothing. And then they messaged me again like a year later, and then it came to nothing. And then the most recent time, it took a good few months to get it in the game. I mean, it took me like 2 or 3 hours to make the thing. um, but yeah, I don't know what was happening on their end, but it took a while.
So you did this banner that came out now it came out like a few months ago, right? Or a year, I don't remember quite exactly.
Mm.
But you had done that banner like 2 years prior to that?
Oh no, I had never gone as far as to make something.
Oh, okay.
Um,
So okay, I get it. So they messaged you, you were like, oh yeah, blah blah blah, and then it fell through, and then eventually they went on, okay, let's pull the trigger.
yeah.
I can kind of, I get why people are frustrated for org items. I totally get that. I am one of the people that are frustrated, but I feel like taking it out on like, oh, why is there, watercolor banner? That's two different things. It's not the same issue at all, because like the reason why we don't have org items is more of like either a legal issue or like how they want to share, or like the pricing models, and it's not actually making the stuff, the cosmetics. They could be ready tomorrow if they wanted to. It's totally different issue. Do you think, because I don't know how you play a lot of Rocket League, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I just didn't want to assume. What do you think? What's your stance on org items and stuff? What do you think about them?
I really probably don't know much to comment on it, but I would agree with you. I imagine there's like a whole bunch of organizations. They probably all, to some extent, have to be involved with each other to make sure it's fair across the board, and licensing and stuff like this. So yeah, I'm not surprised. And also there's money involved. With me, there was no money involved, so it was just a very quick, have the artwork, here's a thing that says you can have it, and then that's done.
Did you how do you play with your banner, first of all?
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the feel of seeing like your stuff in, like, I assume your favorite game. If it's not, what's your favorite game?
Yeah, no, it's my favorite game,
And
I would say.
how does it feel to like play and have your own stuff in it? That must be awesome.
Yeah, it's cool. It's fun seeing other people have it more than myself, because of course I'm gonna wear my own one. But yeah, it was. I mean, you get used to it, but at first it was very bizarre. And there's a mistake in the banner, which I realized like in the very beginning. And I shouldn't say this because now you're going to notice it as well, and no one's really noticed. But if you look, I think it's on the right-hand side, like 5 pixels above the banner, there's like a tiny white line that shouldn't be there. It's just kind of hovering. I think it's above and below, maybe.
Oh, I absolutely never realized it.
You will notice it now. Do
Yeah,
you use it?
I will. I use it for a long time. I think it's my most used banner right now. I think I have like the Rocket League esports one. I tend to other because I have a hard time keeping the same cosmetic stuff for like a long time. So now I it's my go-to when I'm bored of like RL esports, like the one with like the trophy on the side.
Yeah.
When I'm bored, I go with the shitty watercolor one, and then I go out some up and back. But when it came out, I wore it for like a long time because it was so hilarious, because it's like it just represents the feeling so well. When you, in my head, I don't know what was your thought process when you were making it, and you can elaborate on that right after. But in my head, the dude crying while saying sorry, I imagined it as like when you do one of these like sick goals, and you're gonna do like a sick double tap or something against someone who had no chance but to save it, and you're like, oh, I'm so sorry to do it
Is
on
that
you.
your? That's a
That's
interesting interpretation of it.
that's how I felt, and I don't know why, because I assume I think I know it's not what you intended, but somehow the feeling of like, oh, I'm sorry, I completely shat on you, was like how I kind
That
of.
doesn't happen to me very often, though. So.
Aren't you're like high champion, right? You're like champion 2, 3,
Yeah, but
right?
yeah, champ 2.
Which is pretty good. You know, we have friends that are too good for our own self-esteem, but champion 2 is pretty good.
But it never gets better though, because then you just play other champ 2s and you always feel bad. But the original feeling of the banner, which I think is probably a more obvious interpretation, is that whenever I'm playing, I always find myself stuck between sort of playing really reservedly and not going for many things or whatever. And then sometimes I have brief moments of confidence when I want to try things and, go for that aerial or whatever. And it's like when you go up and then you miss something, like you've overreached and you've missed it, and now you just look like an idiot and you just want to say sorry. I get that a lot.